Welcome to So Many Receipts. I'm Fleur Michelle.
And I'm Shelley Seddon.
And we are two entertainment journos based in Sydney, Australia, who love to analyse and talk about all things reality, TV and pop culture.
Each week on Receipt Roundup, we bring you our take on what's trending.
This week on the show, do the farmers on Farmer Wants a Wife already know some of their ladies? A second Real Housewives of Sydney cast member potentially out, all the new shows coming to Bravo, the shocking background to the P. Diddy trial and more. But first, starting off with the news that it now looks like some of the farmers on Farmer Wants a Wife may have nominated women they already knew to appear on the show with them. Oh dear.
Wow.
We put a reel up on our TikTok page last week, which went viral and has now had over 85,000 views, questioning whether guys like Jared were even really farmers, which sparked some juicy discussion. One commenter in the thread shared that a friend of theirs had actually dated Jared after meeting him at a gig, and she was going to be on the show with him. Apparently she backed out of the relationship and the show. So was the plan for her to pretend not to know him? Maybe one of those rehearsed, hey, wait, don't I know you from somewhere sort of moments to spark a storyline. So maybe this would have been like the previous Connections twist we saw in MAFS this year. You know, Karina and Paul, Jeff and Ree, they all knew each other. Yawn, yawn, yawn.
Yeah, and it gets even crazier because according to So Dramatic, another woman claimed that axe farmer Jack contacted her on social media saying that production had asked him to nominate a girl he liked to join the show. So she didn't know him before and they chatted and he seemed nice. But then she was told she would need to pay $1,000 to secure her spot. It's like so bizarre.
That is strange,
and so,
right?
So she wisely declined. Totally sus.
Yeah, and Jack allegedly told her that producers were encouraging farmers to choose women they already liked or had a connection with, I guess supposedly to increase the odds of a real romance. And while that does sound a bit set up, I kind of get it. I mean, if there's no chemistry, the show can drag. A pre-existing spark could mean a better love story. Isn't that what we want to see? I suppose. No one wants to watch like a whole season of tumbleweeds, but I still draw the line at asking your actual girlfriend to come on the show. And because the show already has a strong track record for real matches, do we really need these nominations?
No, the show works. There's no experts.
Yes.
The show actually works.
It's already produced babies.
Yeah. But still, the show this season is very disjointed. So it was Intruder Week, and there were 4 new girls being introduced for each farmer. And there was also supposedly we're getting a new farmer coming onto the show soon. But isn't the show too far along this season?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when it finishes, but it's probably about halfway through or something. Fans are also not happy with the bunch of intruders, saying it's getting too much like MAFS. I'm also wondering, could any of these current women be these nominees? Isn't there like 15 of them or something?
And I also have an update on Farmer Jared and Chloe. So according to Woman's Day, the happy couple lasted for 3 days. Seriously. So the breakup was due to a combination of Jared wanting to put his music career first, which we had heard about, and then him still being hung up on his ex, who is fellow country music star. Her name is Tyla Rodriguez. They met at the Tamworth Music Festival in 2022, and he still has feelings for her, but apparently she has a new boyfriend. But Jared's tour kicks off tonight, which is Friday, May 16th in Brisbane, and he'll be playing in Sydney at a country music venue called Jolene's in the CBD on July 11th.
I kind of feel we should go to that.
I know. It's research.
Why don't we go? We just won't tell him about the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
What we say about him. Actually, I read a story on Now to Love about Jared and Chloe. And can I just read out this sentence to you because it made me laugh out loud. And here I quote, "Unfortunately for the pair and their love story, it appears the cows have already come home, with the source spilling that their love crop went rotten just days after they wrapped filming. Their love crop went rotten.
There was a drought.
Oh my God, stop. That is the funniest line ever. Well done to whoever wrote that or to ChatGPT.
Oh my God. So I have another big spoiler alert. So block your ears if you don't want to listen.
Yeah.
And so Women's Day also reports that 2024 contestant Daisy Lamb, who found love with Farmer Todd, she revealed to them in an exclusive chat that Farmer Thomas finds his happily ever after with Clarette.
Oh, so he does end up with her.
Yes. So, and apparently the two are still going strong today, and Clarette has moved to Kimba. So I want to know, why is this Daisy chick from the previous season spilling all of the secrets? She's ruining the show.
Yeah, now we have a little bit too, but she was the
Yeah,
one
I
that started.
know.
She's got a hotline to some of these contestants.
Yeah, and here's my own prediction. Spoiler alert. I think Farmer Corey is going to pick Chloe the intruder. They are so freaking cute together, and I think he is absolutely smitten with her. She's gorgeous.
So you don't reckon he's going to end up with Keely?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, because she put on her Instagram a pic of her receiving a huge bunch of flowers at her work that she got from someone special,
Yeah.
and fans underneath were speculating that maybe they were from Corey. Maybe not.
Yeah, the way he looks at Chloe, I feel like it's Chloe.
Interesting. So, on to the Real Housewives of Sydney. And after that bonkers reunion where Nicole didn't turn up in person for the second year in a row to the reunion, she, of course, has now said she's quitting the show. She's out of there. And now this week, Caroline has indicated she might not return either.
Good.
Basically, she alleged she was the target of a smear campaign instigated by Terry and Kate. She's told Sky News, which is a very serious
I know. Sky News is covering this
outlet
now.
for her to appear on. She told Sky News that the reason she was suddenly axed from the New Zealand cast trip was because Kate filed a woke HR complaint over a non-consenting hug. As in, Caroline hugged Kate and Kate didn't like it. I have never heard of that, a non-consenting hug, but
Yeah.
I love the term. There's a lot of those in reality TV too. Caroline said she was mystified and claimed that producers even encouraged her to reconcile with Kate before she was slapped with a humiliating HR claim. She now says she'd have to think long and hard about coming back again to the show, saying there is no chance of signing back on if it includes certain cast members. So there'd be two of them out, her and Nicole.
Oh, God. Well, Caroline definitely was blindsided by production, who played some unaired footage of her and her manager in a cubicle where she was on a hot mic and she was calling Terry and Kate evil. And the cast accused Caroline of receiving coaching from her manager. But they also blindsided her at the reunion with a special secret appearance by Jackie Gillies. So I thought it was brilliant.
So good.
So Jackie was there to deny that the Healing Circle was a setup. And the other thing that I didn't realize during the reunion, the entire cast of the show filmed together exactly one time,
Yeah.
and that was at the finale.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't realize that until you pointed out either.
Can you imagine any other Bravo show, any other Housewives where the cast filmed together one time the entire season?
Are they so busy? I guess they are.
It's just unacceptable.
So why sign up? I mean, what did you think of the actual reunion show?
So I'm not sure. Usher. Is it Usher?
It's Osher.
Why can't
You
I?
were saying Osher before.
I
It's
know.
Osher.
What was his original name?
Andrew, and then it was
What?
Andrew G, Andrew
Yes.
Ginsberg, and now it's Osher
Okay,
Ginsberg.
P. Diddy.
I know it's confusing.
So I do not think he was the right choice for the host. So, and according to the Daily Telegraph, the ladies wanted Joel Creasy to do it, who did it last year. I would say Alex Perry. He was
I
fantastic.
loved Alex doing
I
it.
loved him. He was mean and
Snarky.
snarky.
We
Yes,
loved it.
yes. So those two actually know the nuances of the show. I don't think, Usher didn't. But he looked ridiculous as well. The hair,
Aw.
the dirty mo, the weird
dirty
tux
mo.
with the rhinestones. And the questions were terrible. Obviously, the producers wrote the questions, but they were terrible. We would have done a much better job.
Yeah, agreed. We would have done a much better job. But I have met Osh before, and he is lovely. And I didn't mind him. Look, he was just reading the auto cue.
Yeah.
Don't blame the messenger. I actually found the show itself quite entertaining, like the reunion I'm talking about.
Yeah, and so most reunions are split into like 3 parts. This one was like 42 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't think it fulfilled the brief. So a Real Housewives reunion is all about reconciliation and moving forward, especially with someone who has been your sworn enemy all season. So these ladies obviously didn't get the memo. Just by shouting over each other and holding onto grudges from last season, they've basically shot themselves in the foot because they destroyed the show, and I don't think it's coming back anytime soon.
I mean, that's a big call.
Yeah.
I kind of think it will. Like in some form, we need to make a bet on it.
Well-
I bet it'll be like a cockroach that you can't exterminate, probably.
Well, I do think there is something exciting in the pipeline, an Australian edition of Ultimate Girls Trip with cast members from Melbourne and Sydney.
So do you think that might replace the actual show for a year or two, just having
Yeah.
those sort of short specials?
Yeah, I think that would happen, and I think they would bring back Melbourne before they would bring back Sydney again. That's my prediction. So, and so I was thinking about this Ultimate Girls Trip, and my dream cast would be from Sydney. I would have Chrissy, Kate, Terry, and maybe Sally. I know you think Sally's boring.
Oh, no, I've met her. She's lovely.
No, yeah, I like her. And for Melbourne, I would have, of course, Jackie Gillies, Janet Roach, Gamble, and maybe bring back an OG like Lydia or Gina Liano.
What about Lisa Oldfield from Sydney? I mean, no one liked her, but she was savage.
Yeah.
And what about Athena X Lavendi?
Yes.
Do you remember her? Like, didn't someone throw her coat in Sydney Harbour?
The most creepy spiritual person ever, yes.
Series. I loved her.
Yes.
She was crazy. I'm just a bit worried where they might go, right?
I know, because we know the budget on this show is not great. So, like, where are they going to go? Bali, Fiji, Fraser Island, like the Gold Coast?
Yeah, maybe like Wollongong, Newcastle.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows with this production? Yeah. Now, we also have news this week that The Valley will be hit with a cast shakeup ahead of season 3 after the newest episodes suffered their lowest ratings yet.
Yay.
Yeah. According to the US Sun, the most recent Wine Trip episode hit an all-time low in viewership, bringing in just 390,000 people when the show aired on Bravo.
Wow.
That is in comparison to March last year when The Valley premiered on Bravo, bringing in 780,000 people the night of its debut. So it's kind of halved. Production is now weighing up whether to continue with most of this cast or bringing their old Vanderpump Rules friends. Sources say the show isn't necessarily in danger of cancellation, but a shake-up does need to happen.
Good.
So at first, look, I was surprised by this news because I love my reality drama high octane and drenched in Chardonnay, and I thought other people did as well. However, I think what's happened is because the fights between the two divorcing couples, Jesse and Michelle and Jackson Brittany, are so volatile that I think watching them fight maybe is quite triggering for a lot of people. Do you find it triggering?
I do. It's exhausting. Watching them fight, I'm just like, oh.
So it kind of makes you want to turn off or take a break?
Yeah,
or?
it's not relaxing. It's not entertainment.
Oh,
it's
okay.
hard
So that's
work.
what's going on.
And I also want to know, how is this show still so dark when Jax is locked away in rehab? It's like, why does Jax
You
have a
think
phone?
they'd be safe?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, why does Jax have a phone so he can rage text in rehab? Most rehabs take away your phone. And so what kind of a place is this? He shouldn't have his phone. It's another addiction, and it's enabling his toxic behavior, period.
Yeah, because when they were at the dinner, wasn't he just rapid firing? There was like 15 in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find it hard to find a likability factor. I do find it hard when people are fighting all the time. I mean, I still like Brittany, but I don't like the guys or Michelle much either. And while I didn't like how Jesse called her a hooker, I didn't like how she put on blast that he spent all their money, which I don't quite believe. I think he's still got money.
Yeah.
They've got money.
So I actually thought Jesse was gay when I started watching the show because I saw him doing his confessionals and he was wearing those pink pants.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but after seeing him in his stretched out beige underwear, I realized
you're right.
There's no way this guy could be gay because no gay man would wear that underwear. So he is absolutely straight.
Oh my God. I thought I was the only one that noted the baggy old grandpa undies. I have never seen such dreadful drawers in all my life.
Yeah.
They were hideous.
Yeah, absolutely shocking. They should be thrown away.
Yeah.
So this
Burn them, please.
this group of bogans with their boganic birthday
Can
parties.
we call them that if they're American?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, they're super boganic. So they have these birthday parties at Dave and Buster's, which is like time zone here. Apparently, I've never been to time zone. But with them with their ovulation windows and their fertility crystals, I can't. And it's like so many toxic males on this show. Instead of Jax, we now have Jesse accusing the mother of his child of being an escort. But he was just kidding because he's trying to find the mole in the group. It's like, if you're trying to find the mole, go on Traders. Don't call your baby mama an escort. And then he was threatening to throw Zach over a cliff because Zach dared to roll his eyes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then we have Danny, who is a binge drinker and also a binge groper.
Yes.
What about him getting wasted and then asking Jasmine to go get Daddy a drink?
This made me want to vomit. And the other thing was, this was just a small segment on the show. Like, they just kind of glossed over the whole incident.
Yeah. And then we learned that he grabbed the butt of Jasmine's girlfriend. I was actually so surprised that Jasmine, who is a friend of the Valley, featured so much in this last ep. She normally gets zero airtime. I actually had to Google the cast while I was watching, as I couldn't remember her name.
Yeah.
So even seeing her do the confessionals about Danny actually shocked me.
Yeah. And
who is this person?
Yeah, I did the same thing. And of course, Danny's so blackout drunk, he doesn't even remember anything. And apparently, in this next episode, we get another binge drinking incident. And he's such a good role model for his 3 under 3, which are about to become 4 under 4. Stop breeding. So once we have a healing circle in Santa Barbara to try and bring everyone together. So as we have seen previously with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and the Real Housewives of Sydney, these healing circles never work because there's not enough sage or crystals on Mother Earth that healers like Eagle Woman or Jackie Gillies can use to cleanse the bad juju between these idiots.
I think reality stars have this special power of repelling healing circles and the wavelengths,
Yeah,
the positive vibes just can't get through. Yeah. Anyway, this next segment is brought to you by The Floor, the hit new Aussie game show hosted by Roger Corso, which airs every Monday and Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on 9 and 9 Now.
Go to Deep Dive now to listen to our interview with Roger.
Yeah, I spoke to Roger, who was absolutely lovely about what makes the show so successful, the bad gut instincts on the Traitors, which he also hosted, even the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni case. And I have to say, it has done massive ratings. It's been a massive smash for 9.
Yes, The Floor has been an absolute rating smash, so check it out now.
Yeah. So, on to Love Hotel. With all of the dark reality stuff we've been watching, thank God for Easy Breezy Love Hotel. This week we had some new stallions. There was a few keepers in there. Are they keepers, James and Adam?
Yeah. So I think I just have to say, first off, Luann is looking freaking amazing on this show.
She is. Is she almost 60?
Yeah.
Yeah. She looks so good.
I want to know who her doctor is. Her face, her body, she's super toned. And I have to say, I'm glad she's vibing with James. I don't know if I see them together long term, but he does work for Love Hotel. And oh my God, this is the best. Shannon gets the ick with Earl the Pearl. So can anyone date a man who claims he doesn't eat vegetables?
What about the Liver King?
Yes, we're going to cover that next week.
I
can't wait. I can't wait to see that. And I think Lou is right. Earl isn't sophisticated enough for Shannon. He's a basic bitch, and and they're already bickering like an old married couple.
Yeah, they were. I thought it was so funny though that she caused a whole drama about him not eating vegetables, or he caused it, which resulted in her sobbing when he said that he didn't like how she spoke to him. Classic petty housewives comment about broccoli and carrots basically turning into World War III.
Yeah, and the other guy who gave me the ick was Wally. So he's putting the hard sell on poor Ashley. She's just there to have fun, and he's really creepy and controlling and just dominating her time. Let her mix and mingle. And the other mic drop moment happened at the end of the episode where Ashley told Ralph that she was interested in dating him. So this was right after Ralph told Giselle that he was interested in her, and she confirmed that the feeling was mutual. What has Ralph got going on? So every woman on the show is after him. Luann, Shannon, Giselle, and Ashley. They've all expressed interest in Ralph. So Love Hotel has basically turned into the Golden Bachelor.
It's because he's the best looking guy there, the best looking older man. I absolutely knew Ashley's daddy issues would come out sooner or later because her ex-husband is 65.
Yeah.
She's 38. She has a thing for men 20 to 30 years older than her. She admits that. She, clearly has a thing for men who remember life before mobile phones anyway.
Yes.
And they put in all those young guys in for her, but I just knew she was going to do a grandpa.
Yeah.
I just knew it. Also, the thing which really got my goat in this latest episode was when the host, Joel Kim Booster, had this supposedly touching scene holding Shannon's hand, comforting her about her dates. She had tears in her eyes telling him she finds it all so hard, and he was being apparently supportive. Because remember, once the show wrapped, we covered this a few episodes ago, he did all those awful social media posts saying she was a pathetic drunk, she was too rude or something. Then he did the most embarrassing public apology to her saying he wished her well on her journey, whatever. So cringe. So here's the thing, and this really comes out in this scene. Shannon is damaged.
Yeah, for
She's
sure.
so vulnerable. She's terrible with men. She's got a bit of an abrasive personality. Some people just speak like that, even when they don't mean to be abrasive. Because when she said it to Earl, she was shocked that he even made a thing of it. I think she doesn't realize how she talks. I mean, I mean, she shared that moment with Joel. It just makes him, I think, look even more of an idiot in his crocheted shirt, which I didn't appreciate either.
Yes. I just wondered, so obviously it was this deep and meaningful, touching moment. I'm like, what went so horribly wrong that it turned, he turned so against her? I'm like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. Maybe she probably was appalling or whatever, but I don't know. When someone's that damaged,
she's so fragile.
Do you make a big deal of that?
Yeah.
I didn't think that was very cool with him.
Yeah, I totally agree. So for my rose this week, I am talking about all of the delicious Bravo news. Bravo has announced 4 new shows. First of all, Ladies of London, it's back.
Yay.
I'd heard rumors about this, and I really wanted the center of the show to be around Caroline Stanbury and Sergio, but that's not happening. For the Caroline fans like me, which I'm calling Stanberries.
Because I've seen pics of her on her Instagram. They're in America at the moment or something?
Yes, I think one of her kids goes to school in America or something. Yeah, so that's not happening. And according to the press release, the show is going to be a new wave of British blue bloods, ambitious American expats, and glamorous international socialites. So they had so many good cast members on this show. I really wish some of them were coming back, so I guess we'll see. The second show is really bizarre to me. It's called The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. So I'm like, what the F? When I think about creating a new franchise, I'm thinking Chicago, Boston, San Francisco. Rhode Island is the smallest U.S. state. It would be one of the last places I would think of if I was going to launch a new franchise.
So this is like a tiny state. It's near New York, up in that kind of area. Yeah. And I had to Google it because I knew nothing. I actually typed in, what is Rhode Island known for? And it's like just a coastal town. But I did read it's rich. Most of the people that live there are wealthy, so that kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah. Well, apparently this new cast is a tight circle of friends, and it will feature an all-Italian cast similar to New Jersey. So,
do we want that?
It's got a Jersey vibe to it.
Okay.
So, I'm bagging out Rhode Island, and I thought the same thing about Salt Lake City, and now it's one of my favorite shows. So who knows?
Yeah. And then there's also the Valley Persian style, right? This the spin-off will feature Reza, Gigi, and MJ from Shahs of Sunset. So it's just like, I guess it's like the cast of the Valley, the show is spawning.
And I will say it again, stop breeding.
Oh, okay. And then this is going to be good though, is it? Wife Swap Housewives edition. A housewife will be swapping places with actual real life people, housewives, presumably ones that can maybe cook and clean. So the housewives swapping husbands so far will be Wendy and Eddie from Potomac, Emily and Shane from the OC, and Melissa and Joe from New Jersey. Can I say Shane would be an absolute pain in the ass to live with? He is so condescending to Emily.
Yeah, that one's going to be interesting. And also there are 2 shows that were not mentioned, and they are officially on pause. So The Real Housewives of New Jersey, which is a surprise to no one, but it was a bit of a surprise that The Housewives of New York wasn't mentioned, and it's taking a break. And so I think we have Bryn to thank for that. And according to a source, the show's not canceled, but it won't be back until they get the casting and storylines right for next season, which could take a while. So they've interviewed everybody from celebrities like Julia Fox to affluent working New Yorkers, but the women they really want just aren't interested in the show.
So it wasn't a surprise to me that Roni is paused because I didn't think that reboot worked from day dot. And I actually think Rebecca Minkoff kind of officially killed off Roni, because remember when she played that prank that she was hooking up with men, and Andy schooled her on the reunion and Watch What Happens Live, saying he wasn't impressed and was no fan of a premeditated prank. So maybe we might see the new cast announced at BravoCon at November, maybe?
Yeah, I think that would be amazing. And there's also something interesting that I found out. There was a breakup. Savi. That's
Sutton and Brangelina.
That's their couple name. Savi. Sutton and Avi have split. So I think Sutton must really be feeling deserted because her bestie Garcelle left, and now her assistant is gone. And she said on Jeff Lewis Live, "We're still friends," but she wouldn't say whether he quit or if he was fired, and she doesn't know if he has a new job, saying they haven't really spoken. So I would love to hear his side of this, and I want to know who's going to make sure that she has her ocean spray cranberry. It's not cranberry. It's grapefruit juice.
Yeah.
For
And
her cocktails.
Avi was always so odd because he started. What didn't he start out as? He was the property manager,
Yes.
and then he was like a houseboy, a butler. He was her
Yes.
wardrobe mistress at some point.
He's just her bitch, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's why he left. And I have a save the date for everyone. Get your diaries out. Finally, Countess Luann is coming to Sydney.
That is so. Oh
I'm
my
so
goodness.
excited. So she appeared on the morning show where they cringingly referred to her as the Duchess. And she didn't correct them, which I wondered if she would. She's not Meghan Markle. She's not a Duchess.
Yeah.
She is the Countess. But she announced that she'll be here in February for Pride and she'll be on tour with her cabaret show. I am feeling Giovanni already.
Do you think it will sell out? I mean, should we start camping out for the tickets
The
now?
gays. We've got to get over
Just
the
us
gays.
and the gays. We are so there.
Yes.
Yeah. So on to my thorn for the week, and that's for all of the P. Diddy trial stuff coming out, which is making everyone's stomach churn every
Yes.
single day with all the gory details. We're going to be seeing this at the top of the news for months and months.
Yeah.
Awful. What is really hard to wrap your head around are his 6 oldest kids, all adults, loyally attending his trial every day, hearing all those details about their dad's sexual abuse, racketeering, and generally being a truly awful human being. How do they sit through it and not form a negative image of him?
Yeah. So the trial's for 8 weeks, apparently.
Right.
It reminds me of like the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. You know how everyone was, this blows that out of the water. So the other thing that I think is really uncomfortable is his 82-year-old mother, Janice, is there every day as well. So, and just as far as the sons go, his sons take after their dad because his son Justin was named as a defendant in a sexual assault and sex trafficking lawsuit of his own. And he is also alleged to have been involved in his father's sex trafficking venture, soliciting prostitutes, underage girls, and sex workers to participate in the freak-offs. And then his youngest son, King, he was also named in the lawsuit that I just talked about with Justin, alleging that he drugged and sexually assaulted a woman. And he was also sued last year in another case for allegedly assaulting a woman on a yacht in 2022. So they're obviously,
Yeah.
like the apple doesn't fall from the tree.
Yeah, that is really disturbing. I thought the same thing. So we both also watched the doco currently on Binge and Foxtel, P. Diddy Making of a Bad Boy for background, which, goodness me, that was a tough watch on a Sunday afternoon. So I must admit, I have never known much about Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs. I knew he was some kind of big-time producer, but I never exactly knew what he did. So this doco was very eye-opening. And there were many appalling revelations in it. It actually starts off with something I wasn't aware of, known as the City College Stampede. So back in 1991, when Diddy was a young music event promoter, he and rapper Heavy D oversold a charity event at a college in New York. Only 2,700 people were able to fit into the gymnasium, but he ignored the safety hazards, created such hype that 5,000 people tried to storm the gym, creating a crowd crush which killed 9 people. He was portrayed as not being that remorseful and just got on with his own life afterwards.
Yeah, so sad.
I just want to throw some absolutely jaw-dropping numbers at you. Since last year, 3,285 people have come forward and said P. Diddy harmed them in some way.
Wow.
This is dating back over 34 years, since 1991. Over 3,000 people. That is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
That number has now been whittled down to 120 of the most shocking cases, and out of that, 25 people were minors at the time of the abuse. Cassie Ventura, who met Diddy when she was about 19 and then dated him for 11 years, is one of those 120 people. Her lawsuit of everything he did to her is 35 pages long.
It's so crazy. And it was also brought up in the P. Diddy Making of a Bad Boy doco that Diddy maybe had something to do with the death of his ex, Kim Porter. She allegedly died of pneumonia at 47, and she confided in her former partner, rapper Al B. Sure, that she was keeping a diary of all the dark things that were happening. And so they think that someone found her passcode to her phone and discovered what she was doing. And Al B. Sure also says attempts have been made on his life, and he had a wild medical episode where his organs were failing and he was in a coma due to sepsis.
Although I don't know how you can arrange for someone to die of pneumonia or sepsis, but it goes to show that there's such paranoia around Diddy. People are so scared of him that they believe he is just capable of anything. In this doco, it even suggests that he maybe had something to do with the deaths of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls. It's also alleged, not in this doco, but in media reports, that he might have also abused both Justin Bieber and Usher at some point. That is so sad, twisted.
Yeah. Have you seen that infamous tape where Diddy says that he has 48 hours with Justin and they can't talk about what they're doing? Oh, yeah. It's crazy.
There's a tape?
Yeah.
Oh,
there's a
God.
video. And they're talking and he says, we can't talk about what we're doing together, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Ew.
And we're going to go buck fool crazy.
Oh, yuck.
And, we can only imagine what that involved, knowing what we know now with the freak-offs and everything. And in the doco, there were also some fascinating interviews with Gene, who was Diddy's bodyguard for 15 years, and his childhood best friend, Tim, and this guy named Courtney Burgess, who claims to have a flash drive with sex tapes that included Diddy with 8 people, including A-list celebrities who might not have known that they were being filmed.
And a famous incident was also brought up in this doco by one of the women who is part of a MTV series called Making the Band, where Diddy was mentoring young adults trying to make it in the music industry. She says Diddy wanted a piece of cheesecake from a specific Brooklyn place. So she says he made the band walk on foot 8 hours through the night on a round trip from Manhattan to Brooklyn and back to get him this cake, just to prove how devoted they were to him. So it's also explained he had a rough upbringing. His dad was a gangster who died. His mum hung around very undesirable people. So times were tough for him and his mum, and he had trauma. But no one can say that his background justifies what he's done. Millions of people who have gone through the same stuff and not gone on to harm 3,000 people.
Yeah.
And interestingly, not a single person has come forth to say anything positive on his behalf. So far, even Harvey Weinstein had a few supporters. So
Yeah,
we'll see how it unfolds.
Exactly. This is going to be so good. It's crazy. So my thorn for the week, I know the Met Gala was last week, but we were on pause. And I feel I just need to weigh in on the coverage. So that's my thorn for this week. I'm not going to do the usual best dressed, worst dressed, not on theme roundup. I just want to put everything into context because I think something was missing from all of the coverage.
Oh, yeah, but I'll talk about it because the people did mainly look ridiculous, right? I mean, what about Andre 3000 with the huge piano backpack, or Pusha T in the dandruff suit, or Alicia Keys? She basically came dressed as a Doona bedspread.
Yes, I know. I'm just going to explain the deeper meaning to all of this.
There's a deeper meaning to all of it. It's like a dandruff suit?
It's not superficial. So the Met Gala is basically a fundraiser for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute in Manhattan. And each year, the theme is based on a particular exhibition at the museum. So this year, the theme was Superfine Tailoring Black Style, which celebrated this thing called Black Dandyism. It's a fashion style whose primary purpose was to stand out by being impeccably groomed and dressed, and it was a form of rebellion against societal norms. So the theme translated to the red carpet with lots of menswear looks, pantsuits, black and white, and hats, like Demi dressing like a giant necktie, so menswear. The theme was particularly significant because it honored Anna's late colleague, legendary Vogue editor Andre Leon Talley, and Black culture. So I'm just saying, the Costume Institute is a magical place. I actually cried the last time I was there.
Okay, you say impeccably groomed, but what about Shakira? She came in a huge pink dress that looked like a crumpled bed sheet, basically. It looked hideous. It wasn't on theme. I just didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's just some of the, tailoring. It wasn't tailored. But anyway, why did you cry at the museum?
Just because it was so beautiful. It's like the exhibitions are incredible. And this year's event raised a record $31 million. So it's an archive for important fashion pieces. It's a part of history. So maybe this year's theme wasn't over the top, but it was still really important. And so the Daily Mail's headline the next day was, "Is the Met Gala dead?" And then it compared the event to a funeral with all the black, costumes and stuff. But other reviews also said, it's over, it's boring, it's jumped the shark, whatever. So I understand that we live in a world where everything has to be bigger, better, faster, and you have to be more over the top than the year before, and, continue to raise the bar to these outlandish heights. But sometimes it's just nice to acknowledge an important time in history, place in history.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for the education.
Yes.
I didn't know all of that.
School's out.
Yes. I also think people don't understand the vibe of the Met Gala because it can be interpreted in two ways. A celebrity can say to their stylist, I want to be on theme, but wear something that is ready to wear. And I also want to be able to go to the bathroom during the night. So Zendaya was an example of that. She wore a really beautiful form-fitting white suit. Anyone could have worn that out for a dinner. Same with Hailey Bieber in an on-trend oversized jacket with high heels. Very Paige from Summer House look, I thought that one. Those looks can hugely influence what's coming next in fashion. But then there are the stars who say to their stylist, I want to look absolutely batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Dress me in the most outrageous, insane costume you can find with a birdcage on my head.
Yeah.
It's those celebs who get all the attention for being the worst dressed, as media always pays more attention to the worst outfits, because let's face it, it's much more fun to have a laugh at those ones, right?
So yes, but I think celebrities need to be very careful, because you don't want to get too far away from the theme and offend the dame, Anna Wintour, because you won't get invited back.
They don't get invited back?
Yeah.
So would Shakira get invited back?
I don't know. We will find out next year.
Okay. So finally, my rose for this week is for a show I watched called Baylan Out Loud, which is on the streamer Max in Australia and TLC. This is about a young woman in her early 20s who suffers from Tourette's syndrome, and specifically coprolalia, which is uncontrollable swearing, which actually affects only 10% of Tourette sufferers. So she's got the rarest form of this disorder. Look, this is a fascinating watch. Just seeing this poor girl, Baylan, even trying to do the simplest things like grocery shopping, it's just excruciating. She is yelping and swearing out loud, particularly the F word. People are just staring at her wherever she goes. She's so embarrassed. Her life is so hard.
So can you take medication for something like that?
Yeah, well, she can, but she doesn't. She said she's taken it before, but when she took it, it made her feel very out of it and very flat, like it robbed her of her personality, which is actually incredibly bubbly. So she said she prefers not to take it and just do behavioural therapy, which has helped a little bit. So her family, they are so supportive. One kind of funny thing is that she also has a compulsion to tell bald men that they are bald.
Wow.
One of which is her dad. So she'll be having like a normal conversation with him, and in the middle of it, she'll suddenly say to him, hey, you're effing bald. And bless him, he doesn't even skip a beat. I guess he's just been hearing it his whole life. There's another scene where she's at a clothing store with her sister, and there's these two female clothes mannequins who are the ones with the bald heads and no facial features. And she says as she walks out of the shop, hey, look, two mother effing baldies.
Oh, my God.
See you, baldies. I mean, I couldn't help laugh at that a little bit.
So I've always thought if I had to have some kind of affliction that I would choose Tourette's.
What?
Because you have a free pass to say whatever you want. There's no filter. So, yeah, like I have coprolalia. Sorry. But so when you're watching, are you like more laughing or more feeling sad for her?
Look, you do kind of laugh a bit at first. I mean, you can't help it because some of the statements are just so outrageous and they shock you. But they have the goofy music playing underneath some of these scenes. So I guess they're trying to show the lightest side of it. Yeah. But as you watch more and more, you do get used to it. Like everyone around her is used to it, and so they don't really laugh. And then you just see how unbearably difficult life is for her. So you do just feel so sorry for her.
So does she have like an actual job?
Yeah, she works at home.
Yeah.
She's a content creator, and she also reports about social media for People magazine. But I can't imagine her working in an office full time. I just don't see how it would be possible. However, she does have an absolutely incredible boyfriend who just accepts her and he's so helpful, and they're actually now engaged. So I'm just really happy she's found love despite everything. So if you don't have Max or TLC, then there are clips from the show on YouTube, and she puts stuff up on her social media. So if you want to see more of this very brave young woman and what she goes through, her name is Baylan. It's spelled Baylen. You can Google her or the show Baylan Out Loud.
So that's it for this week. Thanks for listening. I'm Shelley Seddon.
And I'm Fleur Michelle.
Join us next week for So Many Receipts.